up, and welcome back to Opposites Attract Podcast. This is Sonja Ramirez, your girl, and I'm sitting next to
Miguel Ramirez.
What's up, everybody? How is your day?
How was your week?
How is your life?
Going. We got it that time.
Can you turn me up?
Yeah. In your headphones.
I feel like I'm having to yell.
Is that better?
Hello, hello. Yes, that's better. All right.
All right.
There we go.
There we go. What's up, babe? We're back for another one.
Yes. And another one. And another one.
You getting some energy now that the show has started? You had to do a little meditation, a little pre-meditation.
Do you want to get into the ads before we start?
Oh, yeah. It's all off the rails already. Make sure you guys go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com. When you guys go to our website, you'll see all the ways that you can support the show there. You can see all the ways that you can follow the show. The best thing that you guys can do is share a clip with somebody. Speaking of clips, I started the new Clips podcast channel. So if you guys are on YouTube, you can search Opposites Attract Podcast Clips, and there's a completely separate channel with like hardly any subscribers. So you guys could be the first ones to subscribe to the channel and like and comment and all that stuff. So from now on, the clips that come out will come out on that channel. On Facebook, it'll still all be the same. They'll still all come out on the same page. But on YouTube, it makes a difference. So if you guys could help us by going there and subscribing to us there. And also, if you go to our profile on YouTube and you go to like About and you go to channels, the Clips channel is there because they're related. So okay, you guys can find us there. And also, you can find ways that you can support the show that we'll tell you about a little bit later. You can click on the Support the Show tab and see how you can help us out there.
Very cool.
So what's up, babe?
So, yeah, I'm having a difficult time today.
Why?
I don't know, because, well, I know why. You know, it's just, that time of the month. And with that comes an inner fight.
Yeah.
Of emotions and thoughts and all that stuff that we women put up with. And I was good for most of the time until like today. I was fine too when I woke up, and then just all of a sudden I felt the shift within.
And it's time to record.
Yes, and it's weird.
So you guys are gonna get it.
It's like, you just get filled with emotions. Like you just feel like crying, and you don't know why, and you're like, "What the hell's wrong with you?" It's like you're possessed.
Yeah, I'm like. It seemed like you wanted to cry, but you might have wanted to slap me for some reason. Or something. Like, I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
And it's funny because during those, like those challenging times, like the one I'm going through, it's like going within. And that's when your mindfulness like really kicks in. Like you start recognizing how you're feeling and then trying to take back control.
Yeah.
Right? But then there's times where you just have to give into it. But it's like, okay, well, we have to record, so you just can't give into it. Yeah. But I guess by giving into it is speaking about it.
Yeah.
Because I am very like attached to my emotions. So it's very hard for me to fake.
Right.
Fake being happy or fake being, it's difficult to do, but when it's showtime, it's showtime. So it's like you have to put all that aside, and there's no reason behind the emotion, which is ridiculous.
Well, there is.
No, but there's nothing in my life that I'm like sad or depressed, or it's just, that's what I mean. There's no reason behind the emotion that I'm feeling other than my hormones are just
out of whack.
Yeah. That's what I mean by that. Like there's no reason. It's just, there's not even like a thought behind it. It's just the feeling, the emotion.
Yeah.
But then I'll go in and be like, okay, what's behind this emotion that you're feeling right now? And there's nothing behind it.
Yeah. It's tough.
Don't act like you can relate.
It would be a pain. I mean,
it is.
I can't relate to it, obviously, but yeah.
And because it's not something that I'm used to, because I feel, yeah, I give my love to those that had to deal with this their entire life.
Yeah, because you haven't had this your whole life. It happened after you had, was it after the first kid or the second kid?
After the second kid, after Joey.
After Joey. And
I feel like that's when I started feeling what a cramp feels like, because I've never went through the bloating or the emotional roller coaster or the cramping. I remember when we got pregnant and my midwife was like, it's going to be like 50 times worse than your cramp. Or someone was trying to relate it to, a cramp. And I'm like, I don't even know what that feels like.
Yeah.
So I don't have anything to compare it to.
It's funny because you were saying like it's showtime, right? Like you're having all these feelings. And right before we started, like I said, you did your little meditation to try to get yourself.
It wasn't long enough, but yeah.
Yeah. And I was going to say like it's showtime, but I didn't, because at the same time, it's like, this is a podcast. And you are feeling how you're feeling. And if I tell you it's showtime, then maybe you'll change something. And then that's not really authentic, because you're trying to play it up because it's showtime. People are going to be listening. People are going to be watching. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I didn't say anything, but you're already thinking about it, so.
Right. And that when it comes to relationships, right? How to be very aware and mindful of your partner too, when you know that it's that time of the month, or even it's that time is coming, just being present and being mindful of her.
Yeah.
Right? Because you could have been like, hey,
get it together.
Right.
We got a fucking show to do.
Right.
Which I might have said in something similar in the past, or
Yes, you have. But it's easier said than done. Just to switch your emotions, especially when it's has to do with something that you have control over, but you don't have control over.
Yeah, but there are also sometimes situations where it's showtime. Mm-hmm. And you're only going to get one showtime. And no matter how you're feeling, it's time to perform. It's time to do the things that you've been doing. So like,
right.
There's times to like just let it affect you, and then there's times when you got to take those feelings, push them aside, and do what you got to do no matter what.
Like if I had a speaking engagement.
Well, you've been doing it all week with the gym. How you feel like you don't want to wake up, but you go anyway, and then you kick your ass at the gym, and then you feel good,
Or I don't. I mean, there's times where you're listening to your body, and it's like, okay, well, I'm going to do a lot of stretching today and like a lot of mindfulness today, but I'm still doing these planks, right? That's something that I've been focusing on because I'm making them become my friend.
Yeah.
So I continue to push myself to do the planks, but I've been doing more stretching and mindfulness and like the sauna. Well, I did that for a day without pushing myself. But yesterday I worked out on legs and I kicked my ass yesterday.
It's good.
So pushing through that, continuing to, because that's difficult in itself as well.
What if today was the day that you scheduled some big appointment?
Yeah, no.
It's like, okay, I'm feeling how I'm feeling. I still got to go to this appointment and get this shit done.
Right.
And whatever I'm feeling, like I have to, you have to overpower that feeling.
Right.
It's that mental toughness.
Two, it's also being honest with where you're at. Kind of like how we started off. I mean, even I heard it when our first recording. This is our second
start to
introduction.
The podcast. Yeah.
Yes. And in the first one, I heard it. Like I heard me. And I'm like,
You were listening to yourself?
right.
Okay.
And I'm like, that didn't come out right. Like the energy wasn't being projected the way we normally start, and people are going to be able to hear the difference.
Yeah.
Right. And then I heard it, and then you
I just kind of kept running with it.
jerk. Yes.
I didn't know what the hell was going on. I was like, do it today. Let's fucking go. Let's start the show.
Yes. And then I was like, no, we need to redo this. We need to redo this, you know, but yeah, you know, it's just stepping into it. And now that I'm speaking about it or speaking of it, like I can feel myself, my energy and my emotions shifting.
Like coming back to life.
What are you trying to say, that I was dead?
I'm not saying you were dead, but you were not like, I mean, it is showtime. And maybe you're kind of like getting into it.
And then yesterday, like, it's just, I'm telling you, it's like as if we women get possessed. No, for real, right? I mean, it's just like yesterday was a great day, right? Like Adriana and I went to an event, did a cold plunge together. That girl killed it.
Dude, she's a beast.
She really, in a good she's way. Amazing. So, you know, some people were there and they've never done a cold plunge.
Yeah.
And they were very nervous about it. Others were excited about it. You know, and Audrey was the youngest. You know, I asked if I could bring her and they said yes. So I brought her with. So we did meditation, yoga, breath work, cold plunge, infrared
sauna. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think that her knowing that she's seen her parents do the cold plunges in the wintertime in the pool out here, which is, I mean, your guys' was actually a little bit colder. I mean, I think the coldest we've done was like 46.
Yes.
That was like 42.
Right.
But still, when you're getting down to those numbers, it freaking hurts. You know, like you guys probably felt
it's uncomfortable. It's not painful.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Not hurt. You know, I was thinking about that yesterday.
There's a difference.
There is a difference. But I can talk about that later. But do you think that kind of helps her with her confidence? Is like, I'm going to do this. Like I've seen, like my parents do this. Yes. They've done this. So I'm going to do it too.
Yes. And so they were saying for first timers, the max would be like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Audrey was in there for 5 minutes.
And they say for you to get the benefit, like the actual physical scientific benefits or whatever, is you're in there for up to 2 minutes. Anything past 2 minutes, at that point, it's just mental toughness that you're building, like that mental endurance that I can hang in here.
Right. Yes. So everyone was very impressed with her.
Dude, that's awesome.
And during our meditation, we go into a room and the ladies, you know, see Audrey and she's practically sitting on my lap.
Yeah. Like
in between my legs. And I remember one of the ladies in there, she said, "Take advantage of this time." And I smiled. And I said, she's 14 and we're still bonded, you know, because they say once they get to a certain age that they don't want anything to do with you. And it's like, don't allow someone to plant their experience into your world. Like, don't allow that seed to be planted. Because I remember a lot of individuals telling us that. Oh, wait till you get to the teenage years. And I know we're going to go through some challenges. That happens
with kids and with relationships. People will also tell you shit about relationships. They'll do the same thing. Like your kid's going to be a fucking disaster at this point in his life. Or wait till you see that she does this or he does that. You know, and it's always like like you said, they're trying to put that shit on you.
Yes. And I remember like that fear sitting within me. And then at one point it just dissipated because the relationship that we have with our kids is different.
It is.
They love being around us. Joey's 11, Audrey's 14. We still hold hands. She's still like my baby. Like she's, wants to be near me. I was so proud of her because yesterday there was at least, 20 of us, and they were separating us. So they were counting out 1, 2, 3, and then you would all go in different groups. And Audrey was clinging to me, and I'm like, baby, you're going to be fine. And I love the fact that she just gave into it and went with her group and did her thing, because that's what
so you guys were
she
separated.
needs. Yes.
Nice.
Yes. We were together at first, and then they separated us.
That's cool.
Yes. And I love the fact that she was good with it. She didn't ask, Mom, can you make sure that we stay together? Or because normally like she is very, wants to be.
So she just participated 100%.
100%.
That's awesome.
And she enjoyed every bit of it. And I love that. And whenever I ask if she can attend with, they always ask, is she going to be okay with all this? And I'm like, oh yeah, she loves this stuff.
Yeah. Dude, it's funny, man. Like I just dropped her off at her boyfriend's house. Mm-hmm. He's moving to like the neighborhood across the street from us. But so I was dropping her off, and then like as soon as I drop her off, I turn around and I'm coming back home so that we can record. And I'm just thinking, I was like, man, she's so big. I'm like, dude, she's 13. I was like, dude, she's 14. And then I'm thinking, what grade is she? Is she in 8th grade? It's like, she's in 9th grade. Like she's in high school.
Yeah,
like we don't
schooler.
Like thinking about her at 14, like she's a little lady and she's in high school. Like, before you know it, she's going to be graduating.
Why?
It's like,
I'm already feeling
saying,
emotional, and you're going to go there right now? Like, for real? Come on now.
I'm just saying.
Jeez.
But, dude, it's like, it's happening so freaking fast. And see, like, we've talked about it before, like, seeing the little lady that she's turning into. It's awesome. It's awesome to see. Like, I'll sit here, and I was editing earlier in the week, and she was just kind of sitting with me, and we were... I don't know if we were looking up, I think we were looking up knee pads for jujitsu or whatever, right? And she's just sitting, like, spending time with me, and I'm doing stuff, and she's sending me stuff, and I'm sending her things, and, just, yeah, like you said, like, she still wants to be around.
Right.
And then earlier this week in jujitsu, like I said, last week I was out of town, so this week I'm kind of back training at home, and we're taking the kids to jujitsu. You were taking them while I was out of town. And on Wednesday, they have the kids class is from 5 to 6, and then we have adult class from 6 to 7. But on Wednesdays, they'll have a women's class, like a women's only class. And it's cool because that way the ladies get to practice on their own with each other. And it's, guys are bigger, so it's just different. So I told Audrey, like, there's a difference between doing a kids class and doing the women's class. Like in kids class, kids are kids. And they're not always the best training partners because you need a partner that's going to help you train, right? And I told her, I was like, once you're a little bit older, the women, they're going to help each other out just like we all do in the adult class. Mm-hmm. I was like, so you'll have a different experience. And dude, Wednesday, and I've been telling her.
We've been trying to get her.
Like, yes. Hey, you should do the one because she's getting bigger and now she's about the size of the other women. She's like a little woman. So it's like, go do it. And you're going to be training with people that are better than you, bigger than you, that are going to teach you and help you, and you're going to get way better faster. And last Wednesday, we finished up with the kids class because I help coach the kids class. And then we start the adult class, and I'm running around the mat, and I look over at the other mat, and I see Audrey running with the women. And I was like, Audrey, like, good job. I was like, I'm proud of you. That was after she had already done the kids class.
Now, we are raising a solid young lady.
Dude, and then seeing her do that makes me like, it's like, what excuses can I have if my kid's fucking setting an example? You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like when I don't want to do something, when I don't feel like,
You told me, and I shared this with her. I'm like, your daddy said, what's the word he used? Like she was going to be well-rounded, but you
Yes.
didn't use that word. You used your word, one of your words, but that she was going to be well-rounded
Pretty much. Yeah.
because, here she is practicing jujitsu. She's going to know how to defend herself. She's going to know how to take care of herself. She gets into a tough situation when she's older, and she's going to have that fight within her, but she's also going to be like her mommy, where she's, I have that fight as well, but she's also going to have that,
the
and
love,
the meditation, the
thoughtfulness,
foundation, just all of that.
Yeah. And I think everybody kind of needs a little bit of all of it.
Yes.
Maybe some more than others in certain areas or whatever, but yeah, you just got to have some of it.
I remember her being younger, and she was very emotional, like very loving, very kind. And I remember her telling me this, and I'm going to have a talk with her. One day I noticed that she wasn't as emotional. And I brought it to her attention, and she said, yeah, she's like, that she would get called a crybaby at school. Because certain things would make her cry. This is, when she was younger. And she's like, and I decided just to stop crying. If I got hurt, to suck it up, to not show my emotions. And that hurt me. Like, that was like, that's not, because it's not, there has to be a balance to that. And I remember you would scold her before, and she would break down and just start crying. Now she holds it in.
Yeah.
Now, but I could still tell that her feelings get hurt.
She still has some of that. I've seen it.
Yes. But
I've seen it in
you can
jiu-jitsu.
see. And guess what? When was it? That time of the month. It was. I talked to you about it. I was there when that happened. And I knew why.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, she's going to be a beast all the way around.
And so is Joey. Joey, it's the same thing. I remember Audrey being, very soft and very kind, very loving. And then just all of a sudden,
yeah,
you started to see that fire in her, that drive, that competitiveness within her.
I think it was like with softball, it helped bring that out of her. When she started getting interested in softball, competing with the team and wanting to be better so that you can, softball is one of these sports or softball and baseball. It's a little bit different than a lot of these other sports because it's a team sport that's almost an individual sport. Because the field is so freaking huge. Like, if somebody's going to make a play, it's that person usually that's making the play. The ball gets hit to right field. There's only one person out there. So that's your time, your moment. You fuck it up, that's on you, not the rest of the team. The guy that's batting is up there by himself. The guy that's pitching is up there is pitching, So, like, you do want your team to win, but you also need to make sure that you're performing the way you're supposed to, right? And I think that kind of helped bring that out of her. And also probably, some of the other, because she played basketball, and that is more of like basketball, football, like you're all close together. You're all making plays together, like you have design plays that you guys are all running at the same time to do something. Baseball is not really like that. Maybe when you're playing close in the infield, but with Joey, he's never really been into any of like athletic sports. He's played them because we've made him play certain things just so he could try stuff, so maybe we can see if he likes something, but he's never like shown interest. Like, I want to play soccer. I want to play baseball. I want to play football. Like, we'll mention flag football. It's like, yeah, fuck that. Like, he doesn't really show any interest in any of that shit. Except for video games, Rubik's Cube, Transformers.
Did you, though, at that
Geodes.
age?
Yeah, I played football.
At Joey's age,
You know what,
11? I thought it was when you were older.
No, when I was 11, I was probably playing football. And then I played, that's probably around the time I started playing. Because I remember, I was probably a little bit younger. Because I played on a team that I remember the weight limit was 75 pounds. And I was always under the weight limit. But there was some kids that were close. But that was the weight limit when I was a kid. And then I played after that. And then I played in high school. And it's weird, man. I was kind of telling my brother because it's always been something that kind of scared me. It's fucking scary. Putting on a helmet and shoulder pads and fucking throwing yourself at somebody else. I mean, that's basically what we're doing. Like, it's fucking scary to put on gloves and punch and try not to get punched and punch somebody else in the face. But I've always fucking done it. It's weird.
Probably got that from your dad.
Yeah. It'd be cool to talk to him. He's going to be coming soon. My podcast is going to be starting soon. So we're going to record our first episode. But yeah. And before we get into anything else, there was something that I wanted to talk about. What's up?
So with Joey, this is something before we go into something else. You were talking about because Joey is very kind.
Yes.
He's a loving kid.
Yes.
And it has to do with a little bit with what happened to Adriana. It's like there are some boys that are very boyish.
I was just talking about that yesterday, right?
Aggressive. Like our nephew.
Yeah.
Andrew.
Our nephew Andrew.
That little boy.
Is a boy. That's a boy.
Straight up. Like, you're like, you want to fight? You better be ready because he is going to sock you in the face and they're solid.
He's a little boy, like 5. How old did he turn? He turned 6. Dude, if you're playing around and you put your fists up, like and he'll put his fists up and he comes running at you like, let's fight.
And he is swinging.
You know, and we start playing and stuff, but like he's down to throw down.
Right. He's a rough little boy. He's in football, loves going after people.
Yeah.
You know, very competitive.
You see, that's weird. That was never me. I always did these things, but that was never me. Like, I was never excited. There was kids on the team that wanted to they were like missiles on the field. You know, like I would always be around. Like I made a lot of plays and a lot of tackles and I did very well. But I was never, like, I was always the person, like, if you came around me, I was most likely going to tackle you because I'm going to get my hands on you and take you down. But I wasn't making fucking hits that would just, like knock people out. Every once in a while, maybe because shit happens fast. But there was guys on my team that they were, like, just fucking missiles. And they would just, like, yeah. I'm like, dude, that is fucking crazy the way you play.
Were the friends that you hung out with the most, were they that way? Were they aggressive in that manner?
Some of them, not all of them.
Because that's maybe what turned you.
But if I had, the thing is that I was never, if I ever was facing somebody like that, then I would have to turn it up to that level.
Yeah.
Like I would never do that like just automatically, but I always knew that if there was somebody like that was coming at me, I can't just absorb a hit. I have to hit them back or else it's going to be a problem.
Right. So with Joey, you had made a comment that you didn't want to. It's like, okay, boys that are very like aggressive and very, you know.
Yeah, that have that.
That there may be more that you have to deal with as a parent because of their anger or their temperament.
They're the ones,
just the way they are. They're the ones getting into shit.
Getting into fights, they're more curious. The ones that we've talked about it, like 14, 15 to like 25, when you get all that fucking testosterone, the ego, when they start going out to bars and clubs and getting drunk, and then that's when you get into fights. Like, who the fuck are you? And this and that. And then, you know, like there's those boys can get into a lot of shit instead of other boys that maybe because of their personality, they're not as aggressive and all that. They're probably not even giving a shit about going out like that.
Right.
They're home playing video games. And who the hell are you fighting on video games? Nobody. There's just people talking shit. It's just a different life. But they all come with their differences, because with Joey, it feels like we have to give him that drive. We have to put that in him. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
it's kind of like with you. It wasn't natural for you. I mean, you had it in you.
Yeah, it wasn't natural. And it still isn't. It still isn't. Today, I fucking lollygag through this fucking horrible workout. It's over now. But
it's still affecting him, as you can tell.
But I'm just saying, like, even on my last set of this fucking ab thing that I'm doing, like, I'm doing this song that's like 3 minutes, and I'm like probably 2 minutes in, and I'm still in my own fucking head. You've done enough. Just fucking put your feet down. It's all good. You know what? Stop kicking. Just hold your legs up. And I just keep fucking kicking. But it's second by fucking second in my head. And I just do it no matter what, like, still. I don't think that's normal. Maybe I'm fucking crazy. But I got to transfer some of that to Joey, because if I could like package a little bit up and give it to him, you know, because that's the thing that now we can kind of lead into the other thing, because it does have to do with something I want to talk about. But before we do that, let me, I had this moment last week. It was fucking crazy, just the way it looked. But you were gone with Audrey doing something, and I was sitting at home. I was here editing. And I have, like, right here, if you guys are watching, there's like a window right to my right. And the computer that I edit is like right in front of us. So I'm just kind of like looking to my right out the window while I'm editing. And there's a little boy that walks by in front of the house. And he's just like looking at the birds. And we had just put like bird seed in the bird feeder. And we have like hummingbird feeders in the front. And we'll sit outside and watch the birds and drink coffee and hang out. And it was cool, like, seeing somebody else admiring the birds that were just hanging around. And I look at the bird feeder and there's no bird food in it, you know? So I'm editing, the computer's doing whatever it's doing. And in that moment, I was like, I'm gonna go put some bird food in it, and maybe it'll attract some more birds and he can check them out. So I go into the garage and I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, hi. I was like, I was gonna put some more bird food in there. And he's like, okay. And then I go to grab the ladder and I go to put it out there, and all of a sudden this fucking kid is just like down the block, like taking off. And then I start thinking, I was like, oh shit, this doesn't look bad. Like, this kid probably thinks this dude's some fucking creep. Like, hey kid, do you want to help me put some bird food in the bird feeder? Come into the back of my garage. It's like, this fucking weirdo. Like, I turn around and that kid was fucking gone. I'm like, hey, I'm holding the bag of bird food. I'm like, hey, where you going, buddy? I got bird food. I was like, oh shit, I better go back inside before somebody else sees me trying to fucking.
You didn't notice the kid?
Well, I got the ladder out and I'm like up there, and he was fucking gone. You know, by the time I went out there, you see, try to do something nice. It was like that Bill Burr bit that he talks about, like, how it's hard being nice to kids nowadays. He's like, I love kids. He's like, but anytime a kid comes around, he's like, I got my fucking hands up. He's like, get this fucking thing away from me. He's like, I'm gonna get in trouble, you know? But that's kind of how it felt. Like, I try to do something nice. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna put some bird food in the fucking kids. Like, get out of here.
I'm gone. See ya.
But anyway, so yeah, make sure you guys go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com. When you guys go to our website, you'll see all the ways that you can follow the show. You can follow all of our social media at Opposite Pod. You can also send us a message on the website. You can follow the podcast there. You can watch it, listen to it. You can listen to it on any app. The best thing that you guys can do is share this with the people that you know. Share a clip from the new Clips channel, or the old one, but better the new one, because that's the one we're growing right now. And leave us a comment, a review, subscribe, all of that. That all definitely helps us out. And if you want to
thumbs up.
Yep. And if you want to support the show, you can click the support the show tab on the website, and that'll take you to our Amazon link. Whenever you guys shop through that link, it doesn't cost you anything, but it'll help us out. And you can also support us by
going to buymeacoffee.com/oppositepod. And there you can help us out by purchasing us a virtual drink. And you can also subscribe on a monthly basis.
Nice. Yep. And you guys can support us that way.
My tongue feels heavy.
Does it? Yeah. So I had sent you this song earlier in the week.
Man.
I know you don't want to talk about it, but this is kind of, it has to do with all these things that we're talking about right now. Mm-hmm. It's doing all these things that are difficult, like the reasons why. Now, I just want to get into it because there's the most popular song in the country right now. I don't check the charts. That's some bullshit that somebody else said, but it's probably true. I can see how it could be true because there's this song called Richmond North of Richmond, and it's by a guy named Oliver Anthony Music, and it's a country song, and even just the way he records it, it's like he's camping out somewhere, and he just set up a microphone, and he's just singing in the woods by himself, and it's a sad song about everything that's kind of happening in the country and like what our country is turning into. And he doesn't, well, for one, I want to give a shout out or just a reference to, there's another channel called Warrior Poet Society who did a breakdown of the song. They did an awesome job, and they pointed out a bunch of stuff that I didn't realize. And there's a couple things that I noticed that he didn't point out. But it's a very, very deep song. And I'll just read a little bit. But he starts out by saying, I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay. And, you know, I've done a lot, like I've worked a shit ton of overtime. And a lot of people that work a lot of overtime, you start to realize that at a certain point, they start taking so much of your freaking money. It's like, it's not even worth working those extra hours, the time away from your family. If that's what it's for, if that's what you're working for, if that's what it's about, it's like, you know what you're worth, but now at a certain point, and I'm giving you all of my time and you're going to take that much money, you know, sitting out here, wasting my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, for people like you. I wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is. Living in the new world with an old soul. These rich men north of Richmond, which are, if you think of where Richmond is in the South on the East Coast, the rich men that he's talking about are the politicians up in Washington, D.C. Lord knows they just want to have total control. Want to know what you think, want to know what you do. And he's talking about how they can monitor whatever we do. They want, it's little by little, they start infringing on our rights, taking a little bit more of our privacy, forcing you to do something that you don't want to do. They want to know what you think. They want to know what you do. You know, like, and it's them. It's also, I think, the corporations that he's talking about. Like, you already know, what were we talking about the other, those dog pillow, the stuffed animals that you can make that look like maybe your pet that passed away. Somebody mentioned it, and now you guys have all had this situation happen where now it's just showing up on my phone. I didn't search it. You know, that's what he's talking about. Want to know what you think, want to know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. You know, he's telling us that he knows that we know that they're watching us. Because your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end because of the rich men north of Richmond. I wish politicians would look out for minors, and not just minors on an island somewhere. Lord, we got folks in the streets ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. That's two things right there. We have so many people in this country that live in the, like, I think there's more homeless people today than we've ever had. Like, it's a problem. I travel the country for work, and whenever I'm in a downtown area, like you've heard me on the phone with you that I'm like, this fucking area is sketchy. I need to be on top of my shit, you know? And you see it everywhere. Now, we also have welfare, giving people free money, free food, and there are, not everybody, but there are people that, like, they just take it and they spend it on dumb shit, things like unhealthy food, making them more obese. So it's like, we don't have money to take care of the people that we have in the street. They're starving, but then we're giving money to people that aren't working, that aren't like, and just enabling them to keep killing themselves. You know, that's what he's getting into. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes not ought to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. You know, like if that's what you're doing, like we shouldn't be paying for that. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground because all this damn country does is keep kicking them down. Lord, it's a damn shame what this world's gotten to for people like me, for people like you. And then it repeats. And if you look at everything that has happened in the it didn't start happening during COVID, but COVID opened up a lot of people's eyes to there's a lot of shit that's happened since COVID that I don't even know how to say it. It's not good. Right? A lot of things that we've been made aware of. You know, like the COVID, for one, how we were forced to get vaccinated, how we were lied to. Everybody knows this shit now. It's not, whether you're a lefty or a fucking righty or whatever team you root for, we all know that we've been lied to. The Jeffrey Epstein thing, like nobody really talks about that shit. And like we talk about it between each other, but out in public, this is real shit that happened. Mm-hmm. And the dude mysteriously suicided himself. And we know that there's high profile people that were there. There's a lot of shit, like the corrupt politicians. Look at our president right now. I mean, there is the way we left Afghanistan, how we spend our money. We buy more missiles, but we can't help people out in struggling communities. All these things are adding up, and this is the stuff that this guy is singing about. I was talking to you about yesterday. We went out to lunch. And I was saying like that empires don't last forever. And if you look at what's happening, we're not headed in a good direction as a country. And when times get hard, the people that are going to be okay are the ones that have more of that grind, of that fight, of that do whatever it takes to get whatever you need to get done. Of doing those things that you don't want to do. Of pushing through the pain. Right? If you're soft and the world turned, I can guarantee you that the Jewish people a few years before the Holocaust couldn't have seen that shit happening. Right? Anything can happen. And one thing that I was telling you is that for me, I'll say it, as a man, as the father, we are the leaders, but there are certain things that each of us lead in. And as a man, I take that is my responsibility, is to be able to defend, to protect. If something happens, I should be ready. If not, I'm failing my family. Whatever happens, we should be ready to make moves. We should build businesses so that we have enough money, so that we have money coming in from different places, so that we can protect ourselves. Because that song is sad as shit, but I've been listening to it a few times. And I even thought about putting that on my workout playlist. Because that's one of the reasons. Because these times are fucking coming. And it sounds hopeless. But by doing what we're doing, by focusing and being the best that we can be, by building, by showing people that not all hope is fucking lost yet. There's still people out here doing stuff. We might have to do things a little bit differently, but it can still be done. You still don't have to just fucking give up and fold.
There's a lot of good happening.
And what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. And when you focus on that, so I wake up in the morning And this is the first thing Miguel feeds me.
Yep. A little reality check. It is a reality check.
And it's sad and it's happening. But there's so much light. To feel hopeless, that's not something I feel. To be aware of these things, be aware.
I don't feel hopeless because I know who I am. But I fear for future generations.
Why fear?
I mean, really, why fear? I don't give a fuck.
I'm going to be
dead. I'm going to be dead.
No,
but I would like for shit to continue. I would like for people to live well. And I don't think it doesn't look like that's where we're headed. You like to focus a lot on the positive stuff. And it doesn't mean that these other things aren't real.
I'm aware of this stuff.
And these things are not little things.
Right.
These are big things that affect our lives. I know, because we're also people that don't watch the news. We don't follow stuff. But that doesn't, because we're busy doing what we have to do.
Exactly.
But that doesn't mean that these things aren't affecting life around us and affecting people that we know.
Right.
And eventually affecting us. Like it almost affected me with my job.
So being aware and leading our families, because it starts here. It starts with us.
Yeah.
And just like every family that's listening to this podcast, it starts with them.
Yeah.
How do you make change?
You change.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you can watch and listen and do, for me, it's like to be aware is fine. To be aware, to know, and then to come from that place of hope, right? To come from that place of we are the leaders, not only just in our home, when our neighbors' kids come here, when we are out and about.
Yeah.
Leading, pouring, loving, educating, all of that.
Being the best that you can be. And just when you do that, it affects the people. Like you said, the people around you. We've had kids that come over here that are not our kids. They're friends of our kids. And they have experiences with us on certain things,
There's so many young adults.
But you influence.
That are committing suicide because they live in that space, what you just read. They don't see light in their future. So be aware, but also know that to live in fear, to live in that dark place is not healthy. Because it will take you down a rabbit hole. Like I felt it when I was listening to that song.
The first time you heard it, I mean, yeah.
I felt it.
You were crying.
Yeah. And I felt my body.
You can feel it when he sings it. I definitely recommend everybody listen to it.
I felt it, and I felt myself going down that path, and immediately I'm like, nope.
Why not?
To be aware is fine. We are very different.
It's kind of like
I am.
It's kind of like I've also shown you, like when there was stuff happening with Israel and Palestine, and I showed you like some of the buildings that were blown up, and it's like there's kids out there. There was like a little where was he at? A Palestinian kid that was rapping. He was rapping in the rubble about all the things that he's lived through. It's like and these things happen all over the world.
So what can we do to make it better? We can donate.
Yeah.
We can give back. We can do those things, and we can focus on that.
Right.
And it's not what I mean by I can't take myself down that path. I don't think you understand. Because I'm an empath, I'm very sensitive. It's not just a thought, right? That thought becomes an emotion. And then if I live in that emotion, it's not a good place for me. And I know it's kind of hard for you to understand.
But what if there's a lot more of that stuff happening and all you want to focus on is the light stuff?
You can be aware. You can know of these things and do what you can do.
Yeah.
But not to live in that space.
Well, I don't live in that space. If I did, there's people that live in that space.
And that's what I'm saying.
Because all they do is look and like that's their life, is just being on top of what's happening and all the shit.
Yeah. Imagine. Like, I can't imagine. I don't want to imagine like those that, and I know
and
people that
and it doesn't mean
watch
that
the news.
That stuff may not be true.
Right?
Because a lot of the stuff may be true, but if you're sitting there paying attention to all of it, it is going to ruin your life.
And it's just in your ear from sun up to sundown. Not only in your ear, but if you have the news on in the house, believe it or not, your kids are also.
Damn it.
All this is being poured into them as well. And you're wondering why they're so emotional, why they're not seeing, why they're in such a dark place. Well, it's because of what they're being fed from sun up to sundown. Like, turn off the news. Yes, be aware, but don't live in that space. Create. You are the creators of your world. Create. If you're feeling down and you're in that space, give, donate, go feed the homeless, do something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. When you look at everything, I just see that these things that we're trying to teach our kids are going to be very, very important. That's why a couple episodes ago, I was talking about the conversation that I was having with Joey about him spilling the OxyClean, and about paying attention to detail, about taking pride in your work, about being willing to work, about all of that stuff. But, it's hard. It's hard because at the same time, there's these there's places that you can work where they will just take advantage because that's just how it is. Like, they can and they will. I've seen it with a lot of different things. And just because it's written in a contract, or just because somebody, like Dave Chappelle talked about it with his comedy specials. It's like, just because I fucking signed something that says that you own this in perpetuity, like throughout the fucking universe. Like, you own this in the fucking universe? Are you crazy? Just because it's a piece of paper doesn't make it fucking right. Just because you were able to get people to do something or sign up for something doesn't make it right. Like, how should you actually treat people? Just because it's a law doesn't make it right. How should you actually treat people? Yeah, it's tough. And the only way that I really see the only way I see a way out of it is to do your own thing. You have to be your own person. You have to be self-sufficient. It has nothing to do with like these big corporations or any of that shit. It's just being able to take care of yourself on your own, being fully sufficient. I have enough money in the bank, in different bank accounts, in gold, in whatever, that if anything was to happen, I can do this. If something happens, physically, we can do this. If something was to happen, we have enough of whatever that, that's the point that you want to get to. And the only way that you can really get to that level is either you're going to save, which that's another thing that's weird. Not weird, but I think times are changing. The economy's been fucked up. We know good people with good jobs that have trouble buying houses because the market's been so fucked up. And it's maybe before you could just save up a little bit and then put some money down. But now, because times are changing, you have to adapt to those times. Maybe you have to swallow your pride and move in with your parents for a few years, stack your cash so you can put down a down payment when nobody else can. And people are going to look at you fucking weird, but 4 years from now, guess who will be able to buy the house and who won't? And they'll still be looking and renting. You know, you have to do something different. You have to sacrifice no matter what, but you have to be willing to do these things. And that's what we're teaching the kids about. You know, is doing whatever it takes to get whatever you need to done. Right. And making sure that it's the right thing. Because, like I said, just because it's written down or somebody with authority tells you doesn't make it right. Because that's how we're in the situation that we're in now. Just shut up and fucking take the shot. Just shut up and do this. Just shut up and do that. And enough people shut up and do it and don't question things, and then we end up where we are now. We end up with guys singing songs like this. Mm-hmm. When people don't question these issues of gender, like what is actually happening? Like I really don't give a shit, because we're not going to help anybody if we don't actually address what's happening. The mental health issue behind it. If I said that I'm black or I'm Native American, I identify. I want to put a feather in my hair. You can't say shit, because that's how people will be like, you're crazy. That's a mental health issue. I want to be a bunny. I put ears on my head. That's a mental health issue. But because it's so offensive to say something like that, we can't help anybody. And on top of that, they're going to fucking make laws. So how do we even progress? You know what I mean? Unless we really stick to the fucking truth. And when it comes to this house, we will tell our kids the truth. We will share the things that happen in the world. Like, watch out for these things, because these things are sadly real. We live in these times. That's why we need to be ready for whatever the fuck life throws at you. You should be ready. That's the way I feel. And more and more I feel that way. That's why I want to put that song on my workout playlist. Because when I don't feel like fucking working, when I don't feel like pushing, I can imagine the times that may come. And maybe I won't see them, but maybe the kids will have to see them, or their kids will have to see them. And they may have to go back and be like, you know what? I remember fucking dad complaining and bitching about every fucking workout that he ever did in his life. But he still fucking got them done. Yeah. I'm going to get out there and do whatever the fuck it takes.
Yeah.
We need that. And I was telling you too yesterday that it's not just a man thing. Because if you think about like cave people, the men did have a certain role. I have a feeling that when we lived in caves or when we lived in little groups, when shit like war and physical stuff went down, I think a lot more men took those roles. I mean, you can see it throughout all the films that have happened in history. We have roles for certain reasons, and it's not that one is better than the other, but when there's times when shit's going down, I have a job to do, you have a job to do. They're both important, and we just got to get them done. And you got to have that, you know? Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Yes. I feel that, no, you're right. But we also need love, hope, faith.
Yeah, I know.
You wouldn't be who you are today without it.
Yeah. I got to go back and watch the Care Bears. Probably didn't think I was going there, did you? But I'm just saying, because like the light needs to fight the evil sometimes. And sometimes you have to just. Yes. I
agree.
You know?
Yeah.
You pointed out, like, you don't act like it doesn't fucking happen.
Right. No, I'm not saying to be unaware.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying.
And you're not unaware. And we're different people, like you said.
Yes.
Maybe that's also part of the roles. As a man, these are the things that I think about. And as a woman, you're trying to maintain the peace. And with that,
dude, we wouldn't exist without it if you think about it.
Yeah.
Think about it. If you just focused on what you said, we would not be together.
Yeah.
If there wasn't some kind of give.
Right.
Right?
That reminds me, there was this book that one of my mentors at work shared with me, and it was The Leadership Secrets of Attila the Hun. And in that book, I got to listen to it again, but they talked about having a wartime leader and a peacetime leader. And when it's wartime, the peacetime leader doesn't get to make decisions. And when it's peacetime, the wartime leader doesn't get to make decisions. So I'm going to be over here sharpening my fucking blades. And when it's wartime, I'm fucking jumping in there. But until then, you can spread all your
love. Yes. I have some fight. Don't act like I don't have no freaking fight.
No, dude, you got some
I have some fight.
I know you got some fight.
Yes.
It just all comes from love and light.
Yes. Yes.
And with that, make sure you guys go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com. Like we said before, the best thing that you guys could do is help us out by sharing the podcast, letting somebody else know, liking, commenting, subscribing, thumbs upping, all of that stuff really helps us out. Thanks for being with us.
Yes, thank you guys for your love. Thank you for your support. And thank you for watching Opposites Attract Podcast.
Where we get better
together. Bye.
Bye.